Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to the RWA Productions. Bradley Young here with a special guest from Talking Town podcast. It's Matt Phillips, everyone, from Ipswich. Good evening, Matt.
How you doing? How you doing, Bradley? You all right?
I'm doing reasonably well, thanks. I'm doing really good. Obviously, our season hasn't finished like yours has. Obviously, we finished 16th in the league, which is obviously shocking. You finished, obviously, promotion again, second place for a second successive season. Obviously, back-to-back promotions. Obviously, from League One to the Championship, then from Championship to Premier League. Obviously, how do you feel with this team at this moment in time? Are you happy with this team at this moment in time? I bet you are.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, as I said to you before we came on air, I've only just recovered from all the drinking that took place in Ipswich. The Ipswich fans drunk the town dry. The bars were shutting at like 7 o'clock. No alcohol was left in the town. So I don't know if they've replenished the stocks yet. But, we was all in party mode Saturday. And the players were out in the town. And it was unbelievable scenes. I can still remember, when we got promoted at Wembley in the playoffs under Burley. And I thought I'd never see scenes like that again. And, this was like tenfold. But, yeah, it's been a hell of a ride because you go from League One, where we've been kind of treading water a little bit. We all thought we'd bounce back when we actually got relegated down there in 2019. We all thought we'd probably bounce back pretty quickly. Then you get all these other factors to take in, like COVID, lockdown comes in, then you're playing behind closed doors and everything. Then we get our change, we get the change of ownership comes in. So Marcus Evans sells the club to Game Changer, who are American owners out of Arizona. They bring in Mark Ashton. Then they bring in Kieran McKenna. We have not looked back since then. Look, we've had a couple of little blips in League One. It looked like Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday were going to pip us. Eventually, they didn't. Sheffield Wednesday fell away. We get promoted in second, as you rightly said earlier. And then we've breezed. There's no way of explaining it, Bradley. We've breezed for the championship with 96 points, that is disbelief to me, quite frankly. I mean, look, when you actually look at it on paper, it's been quite easy. We've won 28, drawn 12, and lost 6. We consider when we was last in the championship, we finished rock bottom with about 36 points.
Exactly.
So here we are on the cusp of Premier League football next season. Pinch me.
Well, you wouldn't grumble. I bet you wouldn't grumble for Premier League, 100%. But yeah, obviously Ipswich Town, Kieran McKenna's had 210 matches in charge. Apparently, his career win percentage has been 57.62%, which I think is quite good to be a manager.
It's not bad.
Not bad. It's not bad at all.
He's lost 10. Bradley, he's lost 10 league games in 2 seasons. 6 this season and 4 last. It's mad, isn't it?
I think it's really impressive for a manager. Obviously, he's managed 46 games, won 28, drawn 12, lost 6 in the championship. Ratio of 2.9 points per game, apparently, as well.
Is there a hotter property in world football at the moment, do you think, Bradley, in terms of management? Other than, I can only think of Xavi Alonso at Bayer Leverkusen, where they've won the Bundesliga. Him and McKenna must be shoulder to shoulder, I think, at the moment, in terms of hot properties that clubs are looking at, is where I'd place them right now.
So, what are your ambitions for next season, Matt, in the Premier League? What's your ambitions? Is it stay in the Premier League, keep mid-table, or is it obviously getting relegation?
Well, I've always looked at promoted clubs, and they're like, I just want to finish 4th from bottom. I've always been show a little bit more ambition. Do you know what I mean? Look, you've earned the right to be there. Don't just try and survive.
Exactly. That's the problem. Exactly. Do
you know what I mean? You're all like, like when you're, look, dare I say their name on here, Newcastle, right? They seem to be sort of quite, before the money came in, before the Saudi money came in, why weren't they competing for FA Cups, League Cups? Do you know what I mean? They just seem to be sort of middle of the road or getting relegated themselves, right? And then and then bouncing back. I do hope that Ipswich will just carry on playing in the Cavalier style that they have done in League One and the Championship and see what happens. And if we, because we're so attacking, we're so free-flowing, fluid football, passing football. I mean, I just don't think we're going to play any other style. And, that could lead to a 5-6-0 thrashing at the Etihad. It could lead to beating people at Portman Road and, and getting enough points to do something. I mean, look, we had this problem last time. We got promoted, I said earlier, under Burley, 2000. Everyone thought we'd finish bottom of the table. We finished 5th. we was in the running for Champions League right up until like the last game of the season, second last game of the season. Then we went on our own little Europa League or UEFA Cup as it was then, our own little tour then. So I think the world's our oyster at the moment. I mean, look, but then the flip side of that coin is we all looked at Burnley. We played Burnley in the FA Cup last season. And, they finished in the Championship with 100 plus points. Obviously, Sunderland was in the playoffs, weren't they? And rightly so. The legend, Mogga. And we all thought Burnley would have a good season. And again, you're talking about company, and the people were saying maybe he'll take over from Guardiola at Manchester City. I always say on our show these days, I don't think company would get a job cleaning out the dressing room at Manchester City now. Thus, his stock has fallen so low. But so you never quite know. But I do hope, I think our cavalier approach to games will continue. How that will play out in the Premier League, I don't know. We'll soon find out in August. But I think that's what's going to happen. I hope we give it. To be honest with you, I don't want to be. We've had such excitement over the last 2 seasons with back-to-back promotions. I just want us to go for it and see where we end up. It's a roller coaster ride at Portman Road, Bradley. Let me tell you.
Exactly. So a couple more questions as well. I'll ask you when we're here, Matt. Obviously you got promotion to the Premier League. Obviously Kieran McKenna's going to still be a manager in the Premier League. Is that right, or do you think we'll have a change?
I mean, look, the vultures are circling. People that look, because Ipswich have been away. We've been away from the top flight for 22 years, Bradley. Right? So
22 years,
out of sight, forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you support Ipswich Town, right? Or you're a Norwich City fan and you've had your decades of domination. They like to call it over us because we've not beaten them for about 15 years. But yeah, to the wider world of football, we've kind of disappeared off the radar, and then suddenly, everyone wants to talk about Ipswich Town again. We've been on this week alone. We've had people from our pod on BBC, radio, TV, Sky, all sorts of different things. So people want to talk about Ipswich Town again, and it does mean I think that people are looking at Kieran McKenna, seeing his body of work over 2 seasons, thinking, bloody hell, we could get him here. I've had Spurs fans saying, well, he did start his coaching career at Tottenham. Perhaps he'll want to come back one day. You could argue Man United could do with a manager like him right now. I mean, it's failed with everybody else.
Exactly.
So I hope we can hang on to him. The indication seems to be that he'll stay for the time being. I think he likes it at Ipswich. He's a man of the people. He's a humble guy. He's a community man. Look, we had our parade in Ipswich on Bank Holiday Monday. Next day, Kieran was in the park helping to clear up the park with a broom.
Brilliant.
The kind of guy, as the guys on the BBC Merseyside said to us when we was on earlier this week, it cleans up after himself. So this is the kind of character you're talking about. But, look, unrealistic as well. While I think he will stay with Ipswich, I hope, for at least another season. The fact that he's been mentored by Jose Mourinho, I think he's going places. He could well follow Jose Mourinho's career and win trophies with bigger clubs, both in Britain and abroad, I think. I think the world's his oyster at the moment. But of course, as we said earlier, everyone said this about Vincent Kompany last season, and now he's heading back to the Championship. But, Kieran, God bless him. We love him at Portman Road, and I hope he hangs around with us.
Yeah, obviously we want to talk about your last current game, what you had on Saturday against Huddersfield Town. Yeah. Obviously, it was a 2-0 victory for you there as well. Obviously, the game, what you did lose. A goal from Burns and Hutchinson. Burns in the 27th minute, then Hutchinson just after half-time, 3 minutes after half-time. 48th minute, if I believe. Obviously, shots you've had on target was 5 shots on target. They had 2. But you've had 24 shots, like average shots. What did you make of the game on Saturday? We might as well talk about the game on Saturday. So what was your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts going... Oh, look, we couldn't have scripted it anymore, really. A home game against a side that's already relegated. I think they had to beat us like 16-0 or something to even have a remote chance of staying up. So we couldn't... and we obviously had to avoid defeats. Because Leeds had Southampton. So if we'd been beaten and Leeds had beaten Southampton, then they'd have leapfrogged us and we'd gone down to third. As it was, Huddersfield were pretty uninterested through the game. But they bought fair play to them. They bought a lot of support with them. Their last game in the Championship, obviously, until they go down to League One. But yeah, they've got a lot of issues there at Huddersfield, and their manager had already said he was making changes. I don't think he played any of their loan players. He swapped the keeper over for the reserve keeper. I think it was Nichols they took out and brought in Chris Maxwell, I think. So, it was all set up for us, Bradley, to be honest, to put in a good performance. And as soon as we got that first goal, you could feel like, because the tension was there. albeit I think when we actually go one up, Southampton were beating Leeds, so it just felt like the stars were aligning into this kind of tractor shape to take us to the Premier League. And once Burns scored, we knew we was on our way. And Burns had been injured, actually. He'd got injured about 2 months, 6 weeks previous against Sheffield Wednesday when we beat him 6-0. We thought he'd be out for the season. It looked like a really bad hamstring tear. And for whatever reason, I don't know, he had a bit of holy water put over his leg. And he returned for like our kind of the running games, as did George Hurst, who we thought would be out as well for the season. He had the same injury on Boxing Day against Leicester. And only returned up until when we played Hull. So only like 2 weeks ago, wherever it was. And then Amari, the guy we got from Chelsea, who was a very raw talent when we brought him in on loan at the start of the season. Although we'd heard whispers that he was supposedly the new Raheem Sterling, but he looked very raw when he started. But his trajectory over the season has been phenomenal. He's finished the season on 10 goals, which he said was his target at the start of the season. Everyone wants to keep him for next season. We had the Ipswich Town after sort of awards dinner on Sunday night, I believe it was, or Bank Holiday Monday, I can't remember. And they said to McKenna, "What do you want for your birthday this year?" And he said, "Amari Hutchinson, please." God knows how much he'd signed, Bradley. I mean, it's probably 10 million minimum, maybe even raising to 15. Oh, our record transfer dealings, because we've been away from the top flight so long, it's still only 4.5 million. It dates back 20 years. Yeah, so I think we're probably going to break that as soon as the transfer window is open. So an exciting summer ahead. But we couldn't have scripted it anymore. Who do you want to play on the last day of the season? A side, which is disinterested and relegated already, and that's what we got. That's what we got.
Yeah. Obviously our ex-striker Nathan Broadhead, he's with you right now. Obviously, right as well going into detail about him as well. How's he been for you this season? Has he been okay for you this season, Broadhead?
He's Nathan Broadhead's just been fantastic for us. I think he's joint top scorer with Chaplin with 13. And he hit the ground running for us because obviously we remember him when Sunderland came down for the game before McKenna takes over. So we drew 1-1 with Sunderland at Portman Road around December time, and then McKenna watched from the director's box, and then he took over, and Broadhead scored in that game. But we signed him for what was a steal, really, $1.5 million from Everton. But when they were struggling down the bottom of the table under Lampard, I was like, and he came in and hit the ground running, and we were like, he scores a worldie of a free kick against Sheffield Wednesday. A real Welsh wizard with the ball. We were like, why is he not playing for Everton? What's he doing dropping down with us? I think he'd been on loan at Wigan, Wigan in the Championship, recalled back to Goodison, and then sold to us. But yeah, he's a real fan. He's a real fan favourite. Like I say, 13 goals, brilliant season for him. He had a bit of a dip, to be honest, for a couple of months. He was a little bit in and out of the side, a little bit of an injury. That's probably our only criticism of him, is that he gets injured quite easily, or he's quite easy for him to pick a knock up and he'll miss 2 or 3 games and then return to the side. But I feel like it's very noticeable when he's not playing, because he kind of plays on that left side for us, linking up with Leith Davis. But you look, 13 goals, you can't knock it. How we will do in the Premier League, don't know. But uncharted waters. But he's a real fan favourite for us. And he's had that purple patch of town, and he started playing for the Welsh team alongside Wes Burns, who we mentioned earlier, and of course Kiefer Moore we've had on loan this season as well. Linked with Sunderland as well back in January, I seem to recall.
He did, obviously we've gone into transfers now. Ingoings, outgoings, we'll be talking about now. So your ingoings, I've been seeing quite a lot of obviously interest from different clubs. Obviously Ipswich have been offering. So I've been hearing 2 players from Sunderland's interested in joining you apparently.
Wow, who are they?
That's Daniel Ballard, and also it's Pierre Ekwa. So it's 2 of them.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen Ekwa and Ballard play this season, but
I have.
Ballard's one of the lads who's like a very strong lad. He's a good defender. I think he'll do really good in the Premier League. I think he needs a bit of Premier League experience under his belt. I think that's what he needs.
Ship him this way then. How much money do you want for him?
15 million. Possibly 20.
Right. Is there room for negotiation?
Go with the cash.
What about Jack Clark? He's a good player, isn't he?
Yeah, take Clarky as well. Take him as well. That's an extra 20 million as well.
Is that another 20 mil, is it?
Come on, 40 million straight to us.
I told you we'd break that 4 million record, didn't I? We've broken it here already 10 times over.
And your other 2 players as well, because obviously you're linked with 2 players from Arsenal as well. which
I
is
saw that.
which is Nketiah, and it's Emily Smith Rowe. So you've got two of those.
I saw that. Oh my God. How much money do you get for getting promoted in the Premier League? 200 mil, 250? I mean, none of it left after these four players, I reckon. But
250 million. So apparently the Arsenal duo's about 60 million apparently for them too.
God.
So you've got them two for 60, and apparently, obviously, Ballard will go for 15, 20 at the max, probably.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Ekwar for 10, 15 at the most.
It'd be very interesting. Look, our recruitment's been spot on, to be honest with you, over the last couple of seasons. We had a couple of hit and misses, I suppose. Raheem Harper, we signed from West Bromwich Albion for almost £1 million, and he just ended up getting out on loan. And I think we just terminated his contract in the end. He went to Burton, so that we didn't do too well there. But on the whole, we've been pretty good. Like you say, Broadhead, Al Hamadi, we've brought in from Wimbledon, scores 4 goals himself in the run-in to the end of the season. Kiefer Moore, we got on loan, scores 7 goals from January onwards. I'd like to see us actually. Yeah, I know. I mean, look, Kiefer Moore actually started his Football League career with us. We bought him out of the non-league game. Immediately got loaned out to various clubs, and we ended up. He didn't really play for us at all. About 10 games, I think. This is going back a decade plus under McCarthy, and then so he had a second bite of the cherry of town. So I'd like to sign him. To be honest with you, I think he's good. International experience, twilight of his career, experienced head in the dressing room. So I'd like to see us sign him. But who else might come in? I don't know. Look, our two midfielders who have been kind of their linchpins, really, Sam Morsey and Massimo Luongo. Again, Luongo was another player we had on loan about a decade plus. They've been fantastic for us. Unfortunately, they're well on the wrong side of 30. I mean, they're both 32, 33. Have they got the legs for the Premier League? Don't know. Waiting in the wings is Jack Taylor, who we signed as a young prospect from Peterborough, who's he's had a few cameos this season. He's got a shot outside the box, can score worldies from 30 yards. So he's waiting in the wings a bit. Whether or not we're going to have to actually strengthen and buy in a central midfielder, I didn't realise, Bradley, you can only get in 2 loan players in the Premier League.
You can. That's correct.
I didn't realise this. We don't have this problem in the Football League, do you? So whether or not there's a deal to bring Amari Hutchinson, all seriousness, back as another loan from Chelsea, I don't know. Sarmiento, there's a deal there that he would stay with us if we got promoted on loan for another season. Whether or not there's a deal to buy him, don't know. But it certainly seems like we're going to have to splash some cash given the 2 player loan rule.
Well, I'll tell you what, I recommend one player what you should sign. And I'll tell you something now, he's a cracker. Amad Diallo. Have you heard of him?
Yes, from Man United.
From Man United.
Yeah, we got links with him. I can't remember if it was last summer or in January. There was a hot rumor that he was coming to us. Yes, so that has been mentioned. So whether or not that does come to fruition, we'll have to wait and see. He might fancy his chances in the Man United team, given how crap they are. But I mean, oh look, we've got a comment here, Bradley.
Comment there from Kev Flan.
Good old Kev.
Enjoy listening to you and talking to home, Matt. Big congratulations, mate. Buzzing for Ipswich, all the best in the Premiership.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But this is the conundrum, I suppose, Bradley. And I suppose when you got to the playoffs last season, you under Tony Mowbray, you was probably thinking this yourself. Do you keep the core of the side that has got you promoted through League One, the Championship, to the Premier League? Because you've got all the momentum, you've got all the camaraderie, you've got the team spirit, etc., etc. And I think kind of Luton have done that, haven't they? I mean, I know they've added Ross Barkley in, someone we could bring in maybe if they get relegated. I mean, why not? And Josh Townsend, but they pretty much kept the core there, haven't they? Yeah. And they're doing all right. They're still within a shout of staying up with 3 games to go, aren't they? So there's an argument for that. Or if you do have a bit of money to spend, which we do have, thanks to the ownership model, then maybe you spend it. But I'm a romantic at heart, Bradley, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm going to give the guys who've taken us on this roller coaster ride of a journey and an opportunity, I think. But then I want to splash some cash as well. So I'm sitting within 2 schools of thought here. We'll have to wait and see. But yes, that Armand Diallo, I think, he could be on the radar. It's been mentioned previously. So we'll have to wait and see.
Obviously, as well, Ipswich Town's history as well. FA Cups and stuff like that. Have you ever won the FA Cup before?
1978 under Bobby Robson. See, this is the thing. You see, this is where people are getting interested in Ipswich again. Starts bordering on being patronised a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because, we've sat at the top table before. We've won a European trophy. 1981, we won the UEFA Cup. we've given the world 2 England managers. One won the World Cup, Alf Ramsey, and then on to Bobby Robson. Statues are both outside Pullman Road. If you've been Pullman Road, Bradley, I'm sure you've seen them. You know, we've played 31 European ties at Pullman Road. We're undefeated, never been beaten. Undefeated at Pullman Road in Europe. 31-0 we are. 26 wins and 5 draws. So, but as I said earlier, you go out of sight, you're forgotten about, aren't you? So people are getting re-established with Ipswich Town again, which is great to see. But you know, we for many years during the sort of the 70s, the 80s, you know, we sat at the top table and rubbed shoulders with Liverpool and in Europe as well. And we've beaten Barcelona at home, we've beaten Real Madrid at home. Whether or not we're going to see those days again, I'm not sure. But certainly, if we could re-establish ourselves back in the top flight in the Premier League, then let's see where it leads us.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Sunderland will join us soon. Yeah.
Sorry. Obviously, outgoings as well from Ipswich. Obviously, outgoings we're going to go on to now. Who would you like to see obviously move on from the football club, like to leave, or would you want to leave?
I don't really want to say goodbye to anybody. They've been in the trenches with us. They've been in the trenches with us. There's 2 players I think probably will move on who are actually with us in the season we got relegated. Did you believe, Bradley, under Paul Hurst and then Paul Lambert, which is Caden Jackson and Janoy Danassian. So they've gone from the Championship to League One, back to the Championship and into the Premier League. So I think those 2 will probably move on. Although there's a question mark about Jackson. I think McKenna really likes Caden. Yeah, I think he rates him. Do you know what I mean? He brings him on a lot from the bench, and even though he came to us as a centre forward, you know, McKenna has given him cameos on the right hand side. Whether or not he'll get romantic and decide to give him another year's contract, don't know. I feel like they would probably move on. We're certainly going to see people and clubs looking at Leif Davis, who obviously has broken the Championship record for assists from left back, would you believe? So he's beaten the Trippier record from a few seasons ago. I sorry about all these Newcastle.
It's all right.
I'm sorry about it. Sorry. It's painful, isn't it? So we always thought that he's such a good player that even if we did get promoted, he might be someone that moves on regardless. Do you know what I mean? You see this sometimes, don't you? And, you know, everyone's got a price, right? Look, even Man United sold Ronaldo to Real Madrid, didn't they, for X amount of million? So I think if someone came in with like 20 mil, 25 mil for Leif Davis, he could well go on. I expect him to play for England at some point in the next couple of years, if not sooner. I think England have got a bit of a drought at left back. I think Leif Davis is as good as any left back in the country. The assist record proves that. I think he'll get a chance in the England side at some point in the next couple of years. So I think he could go, but I think there would certainly be players that were on the periphery, like your Don Balls. We've already seen Shawnee Aluko retired. I think we'll see players go out on loan. You Cameron Humphreys, Elkan Baggott, those kind of players, those younger players on the periphery of the team. I think they'll go and get loaned out. Al Hamady, I'd imagine, will get loaned out. Maybe Jack Taylor. We mentioned him earlier. But yeah, I'll be sad to see some of these players go. Maybe Marcus Harness or somebody. I'll be sad to see some of these players go because, you know, they've been in the trenches with us. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. Good point. Obviously, another comment coming in and off on Kev. He says, do you ever worry about McKenna leaving Ipswich, Matt? Personally, I do not think he will, as he is building something very special at the club.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, we mentioned earlier, didn't we? You know, the same conundrum for Xavi Alonso at Leverkusen, right? I mean, he had Liverpool looking at him, Real Madrid looking at him, and he said, I'm going to stay at Leverkusen. And I think McKenna will stay at Ipswich for at least another season, I would have thought. But, you know, so look, our previous manager, one of our previous managers, Paul Lambert, obviously did the same with Norwich, right? He took them from League One straight through to the Premier League. And in hindsight, he says now he wished he'd left on a high. Because, you know, he left on quite a bad note and ended up coming to manage us, their arch rivals. So, but I don't know, there just seems to be something of a fairy tale around McKenna. I think in an ideal world, he gets us finishing mid-table with a great season, and then he goes off to wherever it might be with all our blessings. That'd be a lovely end to the story, I think, Bradley. Let's hope it pans out. A fairy tale ending.
Yeah, well, 2 more things I want to ask you before we go off, because I'm normally ask obviously other clubs as well. What's your favourite memory of supporting Ipswich Town as well? What's your favourite memory?
My favourite memory? Well, I mean, bloody hell. I mean, probably Saturday, right? Getting back into the Premier League. I mean, the freshest memory. And, you know, just to see the stadium full and, you know, kids engaged in the club, and they got Connor Chaplin on the back of their shirts. They got Broadhead on their shirts, Moulsey, etc. we treaded water after coming out of the Premier League for a good 20 years, did nothing. We always say on like Talking Town, right? We can remember end of the season games, even under Roy Keane, where there were less than 300 people left in the stadium on the last day of the season for the lap of honour. Really grim. Do you know what I mean? Really grim times, and no kids were interested. And we've lost a generation. We keep saying it on the show. We've probably lost a generation of fans, to be honest with you. How do you engage young fans into your football club? Well, you've got to be successful. Look, Sunderland have probably had it off the back of Netflix, right? While you weren't doing very well, at least you had the next Netflix documentary to keep yourself in the public eye. But like I keep saying, we've disappeared off the radar. Now we're back, and people are engaged. And you get to the Premier League, and then you've got you've gone international, haven't you? Who knows what we might be doing pre-season? Might be going out to Australia, might be going out Far East. You just don't know, do you? Yeah. But I would say probably, I would, historically, that season under Burley was brilliant when we finished 5th in the Premier League and we went out and we beat Inter Milan at Portman Road. And we beat them 1-0 in the first leg. They did us out in the San Siro 4-1 in the end. They had to bring out the bigger guns, Bradley. They brought out Christian Vieri and what's his face, Ronaldo. They brought all them out for the second leg. But that was great. We took 10,000 fans over to San Siro. Who knows? Those days might come back again. I don't know. I think my favourite memory at the moment, though, is obviously I've got to keep it current. The promotion, just wonderful.
Yeah. Commenting from the live chat from two people at this moment in time. Hi, Brad, and hi, Matt. It's from Craig Jeff. That's one of my friends. Hi, Craig. You all right?
All right, Craig. Sunderland fan, is he? Sunderland?
No, Newcastle fan, unfortunately. This one's a Sunderland fan. Or Jack Lincoln. He's a Sunderland fan. You all right, Jack? How you doing? You all right?
How do you think you're going to do next season then? Because you haven't actually you're still not appointed. You've had an interim manager, haven't you? All the way through to the end of the season. All right, I'm thinking
Mike Dodds.
Who's going to come in full time for you?
Oh, look at it. Do you hear the Will Still?
Yes.
Apparently we linked with Will Still. We linked with him quite heavily, to be fair.
Is that the lad is it who I'm thinking of? Is that the lad in France?
Yes.
I know you mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the lad in France. We linked with him.
Listen, no one it was Portman Road knew who Kieran McKenna was when he was appointed, other than we'd seen him in the dugout at Manchester United, and we're like, who is this guy? B, he's never played football. C, we've just seen him in the dugout at Man United. What's he going to do? Has he got the qualifications to come and manage Ipswich Town? I had a bit of a question mark there. I've said it on our show plenty of times. But you just don't know what's around the corner. So take a chance.
Well, exactly. You've got A, B, and C, right? One, he's a young manager. Yeah. 2, obviously, a young group of players to work with. Obviously, he's young as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, 3, who knows what he could achieve next season?
You've got the fan base, you've got the stadium, you've got the training ground. It's all set up for Sunderland, really. You've got your owner, you've got money behind you. There's no reason why I can't see Sunderland doing what we've done. You just have to have the stars aligning, don't you? Because
exactly.
We do like Newcastle because of the Bobby Robson connection. I won't lie to you, Bradley. I mean, we do.
Yeah,
we've both got statues of the great man outside our stadiums. Do you know what I mean? So fair play.
Newcastle always says Craig Jeff, and he says Jack says League One next season. That's his game source.
Positive. It's positive for you.
Yes. Obviously, the last question as well, Matt, before we go, is who's your all-time favourite player for Ipswich and why?
Well, my favourite player growing up was John Walk, who he was a phenomenal goal scorer for us. I feel like he still holds the record for the amount of goals scored in the UEFA Cup. He scored 14 in that one competition alone when we won it in 81. I don't know if it's been broken since, but he was an immense player for us. Played at the 82 World Cup for Scotland. I mean, he left Ipswich to go to Liverpool, where he scores 30-plus goals there. He was phenomenal. A brilliant player. Could play in midfield, play in the 10, could play centre-half, come back to Ipswich, Bradley, when he was a bit older, play centre-half in the Premier League for us. Yeah. He was brilliant. I used to get a birthday card off him as part of the Junior Blues. I still wish I did, quite frankly. I still wish I did. I miss that on the mantelpiece every year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was a phenomenal player for us. I mean, he left Ipswich to go to Liverpool for 450 grand, which was probably, I don't know, back in the mid 80s, which was peanuts. I mean, God knows what he'd be worth now. 50, 60 million? Unbelievable player. Unbelievable player.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So Johnny Walk, fantastic. We still see him around the grounds as well. He's one of the match day hosts in one of the restaurants at Portman Road. So it's great that he's still connected with the club and He was a phenomenal player.
Well, my favourite all-time player for Sunderland is going to be Jermaine Defoe.
Was it? Big fan, were you, Jermaine?
Yeah, big fan of Jermaine. Big, massive fan of Jermaine. Obviously, goal scorer in the Premier League and stuff. Obviously, the inspiration what he's got for, Bradley Lowry, who passed away with cancer and stuff when he was 6 years old.
Yes. Great pals, weren't they? I remember.
Great pals.
God bless him. Yeah, absolutely. What he did for that little boy was fantastic. I do have a little soft spot for Sunderland, Bradley, because my first ever game at Pullman Road was 1981 when I was a very small child against you. And
wow.
I think we went one down. Sunderland scored first. We ended up winning 4-1. That was the season we won the UEFA Cup, of course.
Wow.
So March 81 when I was a little kid. But you never forget those memories. I can still remember that game very clearly. And my dad took me on the bus. He didn't know how to get to Ipswich. So we went on the bus. It took like 3 hours. But we got there and it was a great game. So shout out Sunderland. I'll always have a soft spot for them. It's all good.
Yeah. 2 comments as well before we go off. Keep saying we're going to go off, but eventually we are. So Kev Fannin again, he says, it's amazing what a change in ownership can do. Once Marcus Evans left, you get all good owners, and the point it could be you went from strength to strength, basically, which you have done. You can't complain. You have.
No, I mean, look, Marcus Evans had a lot of money and kind of didn't really appoint football people in the correct roles, like CEO or recruitment or anything like that. And Game Changer come in, they appoint Mark Ashton, who obviously had a bit of a history at Bristol City, had done well there, had revamped their stadium, training ground, stuff of that nature. He's done exactly the same with us. So, he's totally right. Look, we always say, don't we? We always say on Talking Town, there for the grace of God go I when it comes to ownership. Look at some of the clubs that have been taken over, like Bury, gone bloody bankrupt and disappeared out of the Football League. So you just never know, do you? You just never know.
And Craig Jeffrey says, well done for your team going up to the Premier League next season.
Well, we'll see you next season. We'll see you next season at St James's, yeah?
Yeah. Also, before I go as well, I'm going to try and share as much Talking Town podcast stuff as I can. I'm going to share it around and stuff.
I appreciate that.
If you can do your job as well and share my stuff around, it will be perfect.
We'll do our best.
Try your best, man. Get some subs in for us as well, and I'll try and get some subscribers in for your channel.
Top man. Collaboration at its best.
Yeah. No worries. Thanks for being on once again. It's been absolutely amazing. Amazing stuff. Take care, Pat. Watch what you're doing.
Good luck,
all the best for next season, man.
See you soon.
Best.
Bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.